Hello everyone and welcome back to our continued playthrough of Dragon Warrior 2 for the NES. In this video, I'm going to show everyone how to acquire the Sword of Erdrick and pick up a forgotten key in the town of Welgarth. So here we are back at Tantagal Castle, and our first step here is we're going to go into Charlock Castle to acquire the Sword of Erdrick. Now, I'm not quite strong enough to go into Charlock Castle at this point, but we're going to try anyway. So, we're just going to exit the castle. Now, unlike the first game, when we want to get to the castle, all we have to do is use the ship, cross the little river here. And here we are inside of what remains of Charlock Castle. So, now this castle has two things of interest. One is obviously the Sword of Erdrick, and two is we can go and meet the Dragon Lord's grandson. But getting to him is difficult given the level that I'm at, so I'm not even going to bother. The grandson, you don't fight him. He just talks for a little bit and doesn't really tell you anything of value other than some what's going on things, and that's basically it. So we're just going to get the Sword of Erdrick and then get out of here, and we'll never come back here again. So as you can see, the castle guys are a little bit harder than the outside world. They're not too tough, but hard enough that it could pose a challenge. So I'm just going to conservatively fight and run, and I have a feeling the princess will probably die because she gets hit pretty hard. So, as you can see, this is what remains of Charlock Castle. There isn't, the castle's main floor is not in this game anymore, even though the castle itself is still standing, which doesn't make sense. But I kind of had some suspicions that they just threw it in this game for nostalgia, but just kind of half-assed it, so to speak. So, and it's also been 100 years, so that plays into it also. So we're just going to go ahead and kill these guys, doing our best obviously to stay alive here. All we need to do is get the sword. We can cast outside and leave. So we're going to heal here for good measure. Now this cave / castle place is similar in its layout to Dragon Warrior 1. Obviously some of you remember this where you walk around and then go in those steps there. As we can see right there is the Sword of Erdrick. I'm just going to fight these guys off here. As you can see, again, it's pretty easy to get beat up here. Even Gwen with her upgraded armor, she's just not strong enough to survive, and I pretty much guarantee she's going to die. And there it is. We should be able to keep the hero and the prince alive. It's just a matter of conservatively fighting and running here. So again, I'm okay with losing the princess because the net result is the strongest sword in the game. So the little gold I have to spend to bring her back to life is nothing in comparison to the sword that I'm going to achieve here. So we got to just work our way through and try our best to stay alive. As you can see, the guys are a step up harder than they are in the outside world, obviously. I'm teetering right at the point of being able to do this. I probably should have gotten up a couple of levels first, specifically for the princess and the prince, get him some better armor. But again, you know me, I like to just do it, and I'm okay with losing some hit points and taking that risk of losing gold. So we've gotten through this floor. Gonna go ahead now and keep working our way through. So as you can see, again, this looks eerily similar to the castle in Dragon Warrior 1. It really doesn't change much. They changed the way the cave looks. And obviously it's bigger, you can brighter now. Stuff like that. So we're gonna, again, like we did before, we're gonna skip these steps and go around to the others. It's the same, we're literally following almost the same path we did in the first game. So we just gotta keep walking. I'm just checking my health here. Magic's a little low for the prince. We have to keep enough magic to be able to cast outside. So, I'd rather not die. But as long as I get the sword, that's my goal. So, I'm gonna go up these steps. feel like this time it's even faster to get the sword, but I also feel like that's because they made the game more fluid and not as, like buggy. So we're basically here. Here's the sword. It's pretty easy to get to. So we just have to survive this one fight. No, my luck, I'll get killed. And I got away. So good. So let's search. And as we can see, we found the Sword of Erdrick. And we're going to go ahead and equip that sword. As you can see, we only gain really 10 attack power, but 10's better than 0, and I didn't have to pay for it. So that takes care of that. And that basically ends what we need to do on this continent for the game. There's really nothing else to do here at this point. We've gotten the Helmet of Erdrick. We have the Sword of Erdrick. The Armor of Erdrick is located in the Cave to Roan, which we cannot get yet because we don't have all the crests. In the next video, I think I'm going to start to focus on getting the crests. But for now, we have to go back to Welgarth because in my earlier playthrough, some of you may have noticed I completely overlooked the Watergate key. I didn't even mention it because, I'll be honest, I completely forgot it even existed. And it wasn't until I got to the village of Toon that I remembered that that is what you do, because you have to do a couple of things to get into the Moon Tower, to get the Moon Fragment, which in turn is used to get into the Sea Cave, which is where the Eye of Malroth is. And we need the Eye of Malroth to open the Cave to Roan. But again, before we do all of that, we still need to get all the crests. We haven't gotten any of them yet. So, but for now, we're going to go ahead and, for good measure, we're just going to save. And then we're going to head off to Welgarth. Take the usual path. I'll probably cut through the Dragon's Horn and then work my way down the continent. After I get the Watergate key, I'll probably transfer my saving location from Tantagal over to Middenhall so that I don't need to basically keep coming back to Tantagal. So we're going to go ahead and head out of Tantagal Castle and then head down to Welgarth. So we're at basically level 14, 12, and 8. Again, the enemies, we've seen me do this a few times now. The enemies are not too hard at the sea. So we'll fight our way there to essentially try and get up some levels slowly and get some more experience here, because we got to start doing that again. We're getting to the point now where we can't progress too much further in the game until I start getting some levels up. So again, we're starting to come down to the end of things, believe it or not. So first thing we need to do is obviously get the Watergate key. We need to then collect some crests. We need the Stars crest, the Sun crest, the Water crest, the Moon crest. Those are the 4 that I can think of off the bat. The Moon crest is located in Osterfair, which is on an island south of Middenhall. You basically fight off one guy for it. The Fire crest, or the Sun crest, is located in the Fire Monolith, south of Osterfair. So we'll get that one after that. And then we'll go back to Hamlin for the Water crest. And then after that, we'll probably try and tackle the Lighthouse to get the Stars crest. The Lighthouse, I think, is the hardest one, because the Lighthouse is just huge, which I'm really probably not even strong enough to do yet. So, we will continue to work our way this way. We're going to cut through the Dragon Horn, and then fight these guys off, and then drop down the continent along the side here. So again, these guys are not very difficult. They're just easy pickings for some experience, even though it's really none. So we're just going to keep working our way through the Dragonhorn, down south, following along the continent, go past the river to Toon, and just keep following it until we basically hit Welgarth. And then we have to go inside Welgarth using the golden key to get in. The Watergate key is used in Toon to basically help open the path up to the moon tower, which is where the moon fragment is. You have to basically use the Watergate key, and it floods the area around the tower so that we can essentially bring our ship in there. Right now there's no way to get there. So that's basically what we have to do next after we get the Watergate key. But we'll probably wait a little bit for that just because the tower is a little bit difficult. And I want to focus on getting some of the crests first. Really, after we get the crests, we then need to basically go inside of the sea cave, get the Eye of Malroth, and we use that to open the Cave of Roan. And once we open the Cave of Roan, we have to fight our way through, navigate through that. And that brings us to Roan, which is where Hargon's fortress, castle, tower, base, whatever you want to call it, is. And we'll basically be able to beat this game. We can, once we're at about like level 20 or so, you can usually beat the game. It's funny in this game, everybody thinks that the final boss is Hargon, and you go through the whole game. I went through, at least personally, I shouldn't say everyone. I went through personally, the first time I played through this game, I had no idea who Malroth was. Until Hargon at the end said it, because I never put two and two together, that I thought the Eye of Malroth was just like an item. But I didn't realize that he exists, and Hargon's goal was to bring him back to life. So in the end, Hargon sacrifices himself after you beat him up to bring Malroth back to life. Which is interesting. I never caught that in the first playthrough until I saw it at the end, and I'm like, oh wow. So as you can see, we're just going to keep working our way down here, following along the coastline. And we'll skip this time. We don't have to go back towards Toon, fortunately. So as you can see, we come across this mountain range, and we'll get a glimpse of where the entrance to the Cave of Roan is, which is coming up. It's surrounded basically the mountains with poison. And you use the Eye of Malroth there, and it shows you the way the cave opens up. Basically right here in this area here. And we use a cave, and the cave opens, and then you just go inside and you have to fight your way through and navigate and then come out in Roan. So for now, we're just going to keep taking our little scenic tour here. We'll fight these guys off. They're not overly difficult. Just again, trying to build up some experience at this point and continue on our journey. I was surprised when I got to Toon, and I'm like, oh, right, the Watergate key. After 30 years of playing this game, you forget that some of the things. And the remakes, and I played the remakes and stuff like that. And it just totally slipped my mind. So as you can see, Gwen got up a level. Just the usual HP/MP increases. She should learn a spell again soon. She usually learns a spell like every other level-ish. Really, to beat this game, she only needs to be at level like 16, 17, something like that. The hero needs to be at like 22, 23. The prince only needs to be at like 20. So we're just going to keep navigating our way through here. And here we are at Welgarth. So we're going to go ahead and go inside now and locate the Watergate key. Now, the reason I forgot about it is because it's not readily visible. And so basically what you do is you go inside the prison here and you need to look around. And as you can see, there are 2 prison cells. One is occupied, one is not. Ironically, when you open one, the other opens. But yeah. So this guy just talks about Hargon and with the Eye of Malroth. It's one of the first references to it. So as you can see, the other guy is missing. This guard is very quiet about it. He doesn't tell anybody that the guy's missing. And the guy is totally missing. So if we go inside, but he could not have gotten out because the gate door was closed and the key was thrown away. So we check all the entrances here, and we can eventually push, and here we are. And he gives us the water gate key. So now we're going to check that we have it. Tally probably has it. And we're going to go ahead and go down here and leave Welgarth. For now, we're done here. So we're going to now just go ahead and leave Welgarth. We may or may not come back here in the future for some armor and stuff. What I usually do is when I'm ready to go to the Cave of Roan, I use Welgarth as my final visit area. Obviously, there's no way to save, but I come back here just to stay at the inn before I go into the Cave of Roan. So now we're going to go back to Middenhall Castle and save our game. My next goal is to start obtaining the crests, which are needed to get the Charm of Rubus. So we will do that next. Most of them are not hard to obtain. The crests, like I was saying briefly before, are pretty easily available. The one is not. The Stars crest is the hardest to get, I feel. You have to navigate a large lighthouse, which is basically a tower. And the guys in it are actually very difficult, to the point I can't really do it yet. So we're just gonna fight these guys off. As usual, I'm asleep. These guys always can put you to sleep, which makes it difficult. So, or you can just attack this guy and we'll kill him eventually. The Medusas are very good at putting you to sleep, as you can see. They don't really beat you up that much, but enough to be annoying, especially for Gwen. So, I feel like no matter what you get for armor, Gwen is just always getting beat up. So we're just going to heal her for good measure. And everybody likes to target Gwen. So, we usually beat those guys. We're just going to head around the island here. And then head north up to Middenhall. We're going to go ahead and run. I'll fight these guys. Why not? Here you can get a Leaf of the World tree, which I'm going to go ahead and take one, in case any of my guys get killed along the way later on. Leaf of the World tree, basically, if you didn't see it before, you can use it once and it brings you back to life. So now, again, using the islands as a reference point, we're just going to head north and head all the way up until we reach Middenhall Castle. Here is the Sea Cave, which we do not have the moon fragment yet. We need to essentially raise the water level up so that we can get through it and get into that cave. But that will come later. We're not even anywhere near strong enough to do that yet. I'll try and fight these guys. I have a feeling this might be harder than I anticipate, but I'll take out the lizard flies first. Gotta obviously watch out for the vampires. They're harder than they can hit Gwen pretty hard. So we're just gonna keep we'll just beat this guy up here pretty quick. Oh, Talent died. Oh, that's okay. We have a Leaf of the World tree, and I can always get another one later. So if we use the Leaf of the World tree, I have to find again who's holding it. Probably the dead guy. So we'll just transfer it to, we'll give it to Gwen. Gotta throw some stuff away here. Again, this is the problem I always have with the items. You consume so many items with just the mission critical stuff that you don't get a lot of room for anything else. So we use it on him, and he is now back to life. But we need to obviously again heal him, and probably heal Gwen for good measure. Maybe not. And we'll keep just heading north now. And as we get closer to Middenhall, the guides will get a little bit easier. I'm going to just keep heading north until we run into the northern continent, and then we'll cut east, which is right here. And as we will see, we'll come up right on Middenhall Castle, which I'm going to use this as a staging point for a little while because of the proximity to 3 out of the crests that I need. So we're just going to go ahead and stay at the inn, which actually in this castle I already passed. It's going to go back to the entrance and stay there. And so we're going to go ahead and talk to the innkeeper. He'll basically tell us to sleep well. And we're going to go ahead and save. So thank you everyone for watching this video. We got the Sword of Erdrick, which is great, and picked up the forgotten key, the Watergate key. Our next video is going to focus on retrieving all of the crests. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see everyone soon. Thank you.